I'm Ben Smith here at CrossFit Krypton with the Best Hour of the Day podcast. We talked a little bit about CrossFit Games, a little bit about the affiliates. These guys dropped into the 12 o'clock class today. We had a lot of fun. They finished second in the partner workout of the day.
Thanks for the shout out.
Yeah. And we talked about a bunch of other stuff, so it's been fun.
If you're listening to this podcast, you got to get back to the roots of CrossFit, and that's what Ben Smith is. Legend in the sport, but more importantly, OG in the CrossFit world. This is somebody that continues 15 years later to lead by example.
You guys are going to really want to tune into this episode. We talked about everything, and we talked about how Ben faked an injury so he wouldn't have to repeat the workout that I beat him in 2012. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Best Hour of Their Day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the Best Hour of Your Day.
Welcome back to Best Hour of Their Day. We are here at CrossFit Krypton with OG, legend of the sport. Are you too young to refer to as legend?
Probably.
OG.
I hope. I don't know.
You one day, legend, soon to be legend.
I mean, technically, you're retired at this point.
I'm pretty old.
Yeah. Are you actually retired?
I mean, I don't know what I am yet.
Fern just classified you as.
I don't know what
Fern
I am.
retired you.
I retired you. That's
okay.
it.
I'm retired now.
Yep.
Ben Smith.
We're announcing it. We just buried the lead just now.
You said there's nothing we can't talk about. We're bringing up.
Hey, that's fine.
No, but OG Ben Smith, CrossFit Games champion, 11-year competitor, and one of the best parts is 10-year affiliate owner.
Yeah. What month is your actual anniversary? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
November, I believe.
Okay.
November of 2020.
October or November. Yeah.
So
like 2 months. Years?
Yeah.
It's coming up.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
You doing anything special here
We're
to
gonna
celebrate?
we're going to do a little party. So.
Oh, yeah.
In the box or like outside the box?
I don't know yet. Working on it.
Can I make a recommendation?
Yeah.
Do it in the box.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
It's so much. It's cool.
I was going to say do it outside the box.
We've had a lot of cool get-togethers here.
I think 2 years ago we started doing so we do our anniversary and our holiday party. So I thought our anniversary was in November, and then like 2 years ago, the affiliate team, they're like, "Happy anniversary! It's this month," and I was like, "It's in October."
They bumped it up to get a quick payment out of you. Is what happened.
So we combine them and do them in November, and then we basically hire a company to come in, and they like put lights all over the facility, and they turn it into like a nightclub, and we cater it. We have a DJ. It's cool.
That's
Fern's
cool.
usually wasted about 9 p.m.
Yeah, I drink too much.
I see the pictures on
I drink too
social
much
media.
O2, and it gets wild. Yeah.
No, but you do a good job of that. I always see the pictures every year, and it looks like a great party. You're gonna do
fun.
something cool like that. Let's while we're on the topic of giving you advice for your affiliate. First, we're like
bring it. Yeah,
retirement's
sounds good.
Imminent, and then you could do like a little Krypton Hall of Fame. 10 years. I think 10 years is a good time to do a Hall of Fame at a box.
We do coins. So if you're here for 5 years, you get a coin.
That's
so we'll have
cool.
to do 10 years also because
That's awesome.
that's a whole nother
You
level.
how many members would you say have been here for 10 years?
We have a handful. So
That's
about
about right.
Like I mean, we have given out a lot of these coins too. So and every year we'll do more of those. So
That's
that was
cool.
my
Same
dad's
coin?
idea because he's military.
That's a
Yeah.
That's cool.
So same coin every time someone gets it. Do you have like a ceremony or just kind of handshake type of
we
thing?
normally do it at like the end of the year, like when we have like a Christmas party or something like that. So we didn't have it last year, but we still gave out the coins.
And it's probably a really proud moment.
Yeah, it's cool
for your members. Little things like that at affiliates and it's probably like, a $4 or $5 investment per coin, and it makes people just feel great for being here for that long and recognizes them.
Well, there's a lot of like history behind that too. So they have like a lot of meaning. Like in the military, they're challenge coins, stuff like that. So a lot of people collect them. So having one is like a big deal. So
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
mean, Dave gives them out at the games.
Yep.
Every year well, not this year, but we still got our coin this year at the games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, because you guys used to get athlete coins, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. They would give us judges coins, which are not nearly as cool.
He's got 11 of them. You have one. So he's like, no big deal.
Yeah.
You're like, I keep mine on my nightstand right by the bed.
Tim Chan gave me those athlete coins. He's like, we just had these left over. Take one.
I've got some too. We get the judges' coins, but it's a cool, and it's also just a piece of obviously the military, but because of that, it's become part of CrossFit also.
Yeah. But kind of what I think would be cool to talk about is obviously you guys have a fantastic community here. If you guys should watch the Dropping In episode.
Before we go any further, Did we impress you on that?
Yeah, you guys did good. You guys
were
did good.
Were you,
Yeah.
1 to 10. Like, you eyeballed me. You know Fern from previous competition, but you eyeballed me.
You guys hung in there. It was what? 7,
second
6,
place.
7. You guys did good.
6, 7 what?
Out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's low.
Okay.
No, it's
What, out of 7?
We have to rephrase the question.
You want 11?
We have to rephrase. 1 to 10, you can't choose 7.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
not?
he gave us a 6.
Because 7's like...
7's like milquetoast, as Fern would say.
It's like Switzerland. That's like you can't
6,
choose
7.
Like a 6 and a
That's
half.
good.
6.7.
Okay, 6.7. All right.
That was good.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. He was watching us.
We came in second place. Came in second place in the class.
No, for sure.
So
Yeah, Fern was having like a down period in his life.
Uh-huh.
His wife's deployed right now. He's been like feeling sorry for himself, but he's been back into training, and I noticed it today. That was a different Fern today on that rower.
I was trying hard.
And so Fern, as you know, you guys competed against each other.
Just for the record, Ben doesn't remember that.
I know. We'll
I'm the
talk
only
about
one
it.
that
Don't worry. We'll
remembers.
talk about it. But Fern, when the workout
He's like, you mean the
starts-
guy in 38th place?
I think he asked for my autograph in the back. No, whenever a team workout starts, Fern goes into this different mode. He's like, yo, you unstrap. I'm sneaking in. Like, he starts to really get it.
competitor
Yeah,
in him.
he
it's
cannot
there.
control
You can't
it.
get rid of it.
We did a team
Can't get rid
workout.
of it.
We were in at CrossFit Exchange with Colton.
No, engage.
Engage.
Yeah, exchange is not a thing. But yeah, it's fine.
That is. It's just not cool. And we're in the first round, wall balls. He's like, just slide over. I was like, oh, man. We're really going this hard on a fun team workout. He can't control it.
Yeah, usually that's a good way to like get yourself back into intensity. Is like you got to pair up with somebody like I have to do this now.
Team workouts are my absolute favorite at a cross for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's just intervals, and you don't get to decide when to go. Do you,
Yeah, no, I put them into. we do them at least once a week. So
you program purposely.
So every
team-
Saturday is a team workout, and then normally once during the week as well, we'll do a team workout.
Ooh, I like
And
that.
It's awesome, and a lot of my training is team workouts. So and it's always has been that way. It's more fun. You get to push each other better.
Yeah.
It's just you get more intensity out of it.
That's
Way more.
just- yeah.
Way
I mean,
more.
For all those reasons, I think there's a ton of value.
It's very underutilized. Yeah.
I do want to talk about programming, but I want to talk about how you got here, right? So anybody that's been around the space for a while that remembers in your garage, the refrigerator, and now you guys in this building, you built it, you own it. Like what's that been like? Do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty wild to think about it because it seems like 3 lifetimes ago. I mean, the last 3 years has gone by. It feels like 20 years, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I started just during the summer times, I would coach some of my friends or some of my younger brother's friends that were like wanting to go into college kind of thing for sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just come and have them train at the garage, and we would go through workouts. And I ran kind of like classes at the gym or at my parents' house. And that was kind of when I realized, like, oh, this is something, CrossFit does this, but just in gyms. And it was something that was an option because I was going to school for mechanical engineering. Didn't think twice about like opening a CrossFit gym. And then it was kind of like your last year of engineering, you got to decide what you want to do. And it's like, hey, you got to go one way or the other. And I was like, let's try this CrossFit gym
I'll
thing.
shoot
It was
my
going
shot
well.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, but you see what it does in people's lives, and you see what you can create with a workout every day. It's pretty cool. But no, so we just have grown since then. I've had a lot of help from my parents too. So like I was telling you, my mom designed the front room area. My dad helps me with the business stuff. Like they helped me with getting the first batch of Rogue equipment for the gym.
Well, I mean, in your defense, how old were you when you opened it? 20?
Yeah, 22, 21.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
I
out of
needed a lot
college,
more
so
than
it's
help
like-
from my parents when I was 22.
That's one of the coolest aspects about CrossFit is so many affiliate owners can start at that young because, one, the barrier of cost to entry can be as low as you want it to be. Like you said, you started in your garage.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you know what you want to do the rest of your life, you can do it and see how it works out. So
Yeah.
you finished your degree,
Yeah.
but you've never put it to use.
Nope, haven't used it. It's just-
Same here.
Yeah, me
Same
neither.
here.
Don't go to school, kids.
And I assume your parents didn't give you any pressure on that. They seemed like super supportive. They weren't like,
Yeah,
hey,
they
we
were-
just sent you to 4 years.
I mean, by that point, I had gone to the games 4 times, and I had finished third the most recent one. So it was like I had been competing for a while. I knew this was something that I was really interested in.
It was a
doing.
viable route for you at this point.
Yeah, and I had been also coaching people, and I was, seemed to be good at that as well, and seemed to just kind of like blend together really well.
Your first games was 2009?
And 9, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we opened the gym over there. We leased the building in 2012. So it was,
Okay.
it had been in the space for a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like out of the blue. let's open a CrossFit gym kind of thing.
I remember that regionals. That was
that a regional? Did you have to go to regionals in 2009?
That was the first one. Yeah, it was the first one.
That was still in Aromas, though, wasn't it? That was the one where Annie hit the muscle up and Chuck was cheering her on.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was where the games were. The regionals was here in Virginia Beach, though.
Yeah, that's the only reason I went, because it was right down the street.
But you could just sign up at that point for regionals.
Yep. It was $50, and I'm like, all right, let's do it.
You were doing CrossFit in your garage, and had you done any competitions prior to regionals?
I never competed against anybody else. Like, I never competed against another person.
Did you know you were like good though at that, or did you just?
I just like doing it. No, I didn't know if I was good at it.
I'll tell this story because I was there. You
weren't competing that year.
I was.
You competed in 09 too?
Yeah. So this was every second counts format. This is
at
a funny
the regionals.
So this is Blair Morrison. So we get to the.
I remember
was
that
it 3
name.
days or 2 days?
Was at least it was 2 days.
I think it was 2 days. So it was every second counts for the final event, and it was the snatch and chest to bar pull-ups. And they start the clock, and it's like, Blair Morrison starts, because I had started in second and then imploded.
So you were like one of the last people to start.
I was in second place. Blair Morrison was in first. Pat Sherwood was in the heat.
So they took the premise of the 2008 games.
Yep.
Where the last workout, when Kalipa won.
Jeff Tinchard programmed because this is when everybody could program their own regionals.
Right.
And this is kind of like the games when Kalipa won. Like, we're doing the event, and all of a sudden we're just like, all right, we have a winner. And they're just like, who's this kid over here that beat everybody?
That was you? So you had won that?
He started after everybody and then just ripped through the whole workout. And like, Pat Sherwood had mangled his hands.
I remember those pictures.
Like, it was rough. Yeah.
What was it? Like 5 rounds, or was it a 10 to 1?
21, 15, 9.
Yep.
Squat, snatch 95, and chest to bar pull-ups.
That's still a classic good workout to this day.
Oh yeah.
Wow. And do you remember what place you had started in?
I was one spot. I think I was 9th, and Sherwood was 10th or something like that. And I remember just going over to him before the workout. I'm like, all right, let's go get it. And I think he tore himself to shreds.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
He went full Sherwood.
It was cool, though, because you could just look down and see. I had to watch Blair, and I guess you go for like 2 minutes before I got to even start.
So he had a 2-minute advantage on a 4-minute workout.
But it was cool because whoever finished first was the winner.
Right.
Like and you could see, and people were watching. It was
they
fun.
should do that again. Cool. That's a really cool format.
It was a cool format, but yeah, I remember that. Like then because that was the sandbag sprint. I think at Aromas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who won in 2009? Was that
Miko, right?
Miko Salo. Yep.
Miko, and what female?
I think Annie.
No. Annie didn't win till Carson. Tanya Wagner.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
Tanya
right.
Wagner from Pennsylvania.
I just saw her at the games this year.
Yeah, she does she does commentating. Mm-hmm. What place did you come in that year at the games?
Oh, I like 64th.
Oh, there's that many individuals at the time.
I got crushed. Yeah.
But there were no cuts. It ended with that chipper.
No, there were cuts.
Right?
I got cut after the 4th event, and I was glad I got cut. I remember. I think I said that to my dad. I'm like, I don't think I could have done that next workout.
Was it the chipper workout?
No, it was like a squat snatch, hang squat snatch, and wall balls. It was like 30 and 30 for 3 rounds.
I remember. Yep. And then we repeated a similar one to that when we judged in Aromas.
But it was
a few years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because a lot of people kind of hate on the fact that there's cuts every year, or some years, I should say, at the games.
Yeah.
But as an athlete, sometimes, are you actually like?
Well, the field was what, 75 or 80, something
you
like
just
that.
Like have no chance of winning at this point.
Yeah, and there was a reason for why they made those cuts. But yeah, I didn't get to do too many events.
Well, I think it's just funny that people were upset about it. I'm like, this is an old thing.
Yeah.
Like, they used to do this like 10 years ago.
And
you guys just weren't
many
around
sports,
yet.
like any sport you watch on television has cuts throughout the year. They just don't make it to the playoffs or whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But people just like to complain.
Back then, even though you had like at the time you're young, you traveled to California, your father's there, you were just like, I'm good watching the rest of this.
I mean, there was nothing I could do about it, but I couldn't.
Because you're what, 18, 19 years old?
Yeah, I was 19.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was so sore. I'd never been that sore. Like,
it's just even after the regionals, like you weren't as sore as you were at the games, just the intensity.
I mean,
piece?
It was just different. It was just different. Yeah. Because we had it was that 8K hill run, and then you had to do a max deadlift. And I mean, back in the day, I was like 170 pounds, and you'd pull all back, and it was like every muscle in your body was just broken. Like,
wow. So when you were competing at the games, still in school, were any of your professors or peers interested in CrossFit and like that, or was it it was too new back then?
You'd get people like you'd go to the gym and try to do a CrossFit workout,
You were just the annoying person.
You looked
at
like
that
a
time.
fool.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I mean,
but nowadays,
people were like, "Hey, you can't drop weights." I'm like, "I'm not dropping it. It's just hitting the ground harder than everybody else." I'm sorry.
But because nowadays the young, males and females that are in school, it must be interesting because there's professors that do this. Like, wow, that kid's really fit. But back then it was like, you're just the weirdo doing CrossFit.
You're the weird guy doing. What are you doing?
When do you think that changed? When did you notice for you, your peers were like, this guy's impressive. Like, I watched that, and he's one of the pros.
Well, I know, like, for ODU, I went to ODU, and their whole gym, like, they got a section where they all do this now, and there's, like, bumper plates, and there's platforms, and there's kettlebells, and, like, when I was there, it was like, here's a basketball, I filled it with sand and duct taped it, threw it to a tree.
That's like the old school
it's like,
wall ball.
I don't know. There's none of that, but really after I graduated, maybe 3 or 4 years after that, people started it started catching on. So
who introduced you to CrossFit? I don't think I know this.
So my dad, who had a few friends, military guys, they would talk, and one of them was just obsessed with CrossFit, and he would tell my dad, like, "Hey, you got to try this workout today. You'd love it." It's like right up my dad's wheelhouse, and he like shared it with me, and I found CrossFit.com online, and I was just like obsessed with it, everything about it. Watched all the videos, learned about it, and knew it was something that I wanted to do. I was just like attracted to the test, and it was just something that I wanted to do and try out and see what I could do. I wouldn't have gone to California, because the first year you could have just signed up and gone.
Yeah, you just go
7 and 8,
and I wouldn't have done that because it's like I don't know any of this stuff. I was just doing it in the garage, and
it's so great.
Yeah.
So that must have been, you were doing it back then, even 2007.
Yes, 6 I think I started.
Wow, that is, you've been doing this.
That's OG,
Did you train at all before CrossFit?
Yeah, so I mean, my dad always used to do those. He was the crazy workout guy. Like, he was doing those circuits,
kind of
the high intensity.
If you ever meet Chuck, you're like, this all makes sense.
He's been doing CrossFit forever. Like, seriously, it's all into
just didn't call it
powerlifting,
CrossFit,
squatting, cleans.
Yeah, because he played football in college.
Yeah. So I mean, he did all this stuff. So,
but was there a point in time where he was like, "Oh, my son's fitter or stronger"? Do you remember that moment?
Do I remember that moment? No, he beat me in the first few workouts we did, I think.
But then at some point,
it gets to a point. Everybody, everybody gets to a point. Yeah,
right?
yeah. But he always had his things. Like, I could tell so many stories. Like, I was back squatting in the garage one time. Like, way back when I was doing like the what was it, the 10 sets of 2, the speed back squat, the Louis Simmons stuff.
Louis Simmons, yeah.
I had like 225 on the bar and some bands. He comes in and throw two more 45s on the bar, just starts repping it out in jeans, like in the garage, and then walks back in the house. And I'm like, I will never get that strong in my life. Like, I don't understand.
Like, hey, he sees you out there squatting, and he just looks at your mom. Probably, he's like, I have to go outside and establish dominance real quick.
Yes, there were always that.
Oh, that's great.
So from 2009, you go out there, you get cut, and then over the next couple of years, you really started to excel. Plus, that's around the time you decided to open the box.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what were some of the things that were going on in your life, other than just probably aging and maturing and coming into like your physical peak, that allowed you to move up the ladder there?
Yeah, I mean, this was all I was doing. So it was like I was going to school and I was working out on the side, and that was my like kind of like release from all of the studying. It was like studying, all right, I need a break, I'm going to go take an hour, go to the gym, or I'm going to go run or whatever. So it was like I just kind of did that back and forth in college, and then when I graduated, it was like, all right, you got to do something. So let's do something productive and start and try it. And I just kind of, I don't know why I opened the gym, but it was just kind of the thing that seemed to be the right choice. I was kind of just led in that direction.
Were you scared,
I feel
or you're like too young to know any better?
No, I didn't. I was like, I opened the doors. I set up 6 classes through the day, and I'm like, I'll be here if anybody wants to come, and people came. And then it just like trickled in from there.
How were people? I don't even remember back then, because my first box was
Instagram
2007.
just started, and I posted a picture on Instagram. And I said, we're open here, and people started showing up. I didn't have one class. I never had a class where nobody was there. Like
from day one.
From day one, I opened the gym, and there was one person there. Like, I'd go to the 6 a.m. class, there was one person there, and at least one person. And it was just, that's where we started. It was like it was me doing one-on-ones for a while, and then it just kind of like slowly grew into
so
small
awesome,
groups.
dude.
And then
you coached all 6 classes at the time?
Yeah, I coached all the classes until Adam came at the gym a couple years after that. And
so this is years you coached all the classes.
Yeah, and I look back on those times, and I don't know how I functioned. Like, I really don't.
Well, you were 22. You were 22.
But there's things in your life where you look back on, you're like, I don't know how I got through that time.
Yeah.
And you're like, I couldn't do it again if I had to do it again, because you know what's coming. That was that time when I had
a guy that I know, he's a retired, spec ops guy. I'm like, would you do it again? And he was like, knowing what I know now, probably not. And I was like, at least you're honest.
Yeah. But there's just something that calls you to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like those guys probably have that, and they can use that to get through whatever they need to get through. And although it's ridiculously hard, they'll look back and they'll be like, I don't know if I want to try that again, but I made it through.
There's something really cool about just a little bit of ignorance. You're like, I don't know about this. I'm just unaware of how like bad this is right now. Just keep doing it.
Think about every workout in the gym sometimes.
Like today's for example.
Yeah.
So
why are we doing this?
you're coaching all the classes. Was there a point in time where you're like, okay, this is actually working, it's worth it, and this is going to be my career?
I mean, yeah, it was just, I didn't quite ever think that big, I guess. I don't know. It was more just I was really focused on the day-to-day, year-to-year, like the season of the games, the cycle of training, and people flowing into the gym and taking care of what I needed to take care of there. And, you know, I didn't have my wife at the time. It was just a girlfriend. You know, I have kids now. It's like a daughter now, and it's like it's completely different. It just changes as you get older, but it was like that was a period of my life where I could dedicate towards the effort of opening a business and being an athlete.
How old's your daughter?
She's 3 now.
Oh, mine's 19 months. I was telling these guys I don't like her. Do you like your daughter?
She's the best. Yeah.
Oh, that must be nice. So it gets better is what you're saying.
Yes, it has gotten better. It has gotten better.
Was there a period of time where you didn't like your daughter?
There was a period of time where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, okay. That's where I'm at right now.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm at.
Yeah.
How has that impacted your training and the business?
It's just shifted your priorities completely. Like what you dedicate your time to, you know that you have a limited amount of time every day, a limited amount of effort and energy every day, and you just have to manage it well. You have to plan it out more. And like before, I never planned it out. I was just like all in on whatever I was doing. And now it's like, all right, you got to kind of structure your day.
That's
out
probably what led you to be able to compete at that level for so long, because you don't have anything. Like, not that you don't have anything, but like there's no other distractions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, I don't know how people would compete in the games and have kids and multiple kids, like Travis Mayer does it. Like he's got 4 kids. I'm like, how are you able to do anything?
In life, like
in life
let
at
alone
all.
make
Like,
the games.
How are you able to
let
brush
alone
your
make the
teeth in the
games?
Yeah,
morning?
no, we're friendly with like Paul Tremblay, and we're like, you have 4
Paul
kids.
Tremblay.
How do you survive?
Like, what are you doing?
He's like, well, I work out at like 4 in the morning. I'm like, okay,
His wife
that's
is
what
a
you
stud
have to
too,
do.
though. His wife is a savage.
I think in
though.
general, you have to be in a pretty solid relationship to raise 4 children.
That's
Absolutely.
so many. That's so many.
And so that's kind of impacted your life now. And then does that change how you even run the business?
I mean, no. I mean, someday I'd like to be able to say I'm the one running the gym. I'm not the one running the gym. I've coached all the classes. I help manage the coaches. I program all the workouts. I'm here every day, like the majority of the day. But it's not like I don't feel like I'm doing anything like specific.
You're what we would refer
I'm
to.
helping manage, right?
You're the gym mayor.
Sure. The
Like
gym
you were,
mayor.
would you have been in that class regardless today?
I've been
noon?
around. Yeah, I might not have been like in on that class like assistant coaching like I was.
Yeah,
but
that's what I noticed.
yeah.
Like you were
I'll
there.
pop in and out if I need to. Like if the class is big and I see that there's one coach and there's maybe 2 new people and there's somebody else that might need help, I'll go in there and I'll help. So
That's the best
That's where you
point
should
in
be.
time for a box owner, because I noticed like you were there.
I really like that role.
You were
Yeah.
walking around giving cues on the front squats or the cleans and cheering people on during the Metcon. So like that's a fun time as a box owner.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long did it take you to get to that point? Like, when did you kind of shift into that role? Because I know, so you opened, how long were you open? So Adam Klink, who you're
we opened
referring
in
to.
2012. Yeah, Adam, I think it was late 2013 or 2014 even
Okay.
when Adam came in. It might have been earlier. It was probably earlier than that. And then it was about that point where he really started taking over a lot of the coach. So we would split it, right? And then he started taking more of the coaching. And then 2015, I was like, if I want to try to win the games, I'm going to need to train full time. And I'm like, so he was all for it and took, he supported me there and he took all the classes that I was taking, right? And we had a few other assistant coaches as well. And he coached the majority of the classes and I could just really focus on training at that point. So I kind of took a step back and then I was kind of in and out in 16, 17, and then kind of started stepping back in now.
And he kind of, did he double as your training partner a little bit there too?
Oh, yeah. He trained.
So that name's very familiar.
He's not unfit.
No, did he make it?
Yeah.
Did he make it to the games at any point or on a team? Because that name's
He
He's
competed
done
at the regionals.
regionals.
He competed at the regionals almost
Strong
every year.
as an ox, dude.
Yeah.
So 2015, when you went to the games, was that a really specific effort that one year where you're like, I really want to make a push
The stars
for 2015?
aligned. The stars aligned in 2015. It was the first year that I wasn't injured. So I was injured every other year.
Heading into the games?
Yeah, regionals and at the games. It was first year I wasn't injured. First year I got to train full time. First year I was my wife and I now, we got married that year or the couple months before it. Moved into an apartment. Like it was like everything was kind of like coming together.
Life was coming together.
The community was like all back behind it. Everybody believed I could do it, which it sounds silly, but like that was a piece of it.
Oh, that doesn't sound silly at all.
No, it's like you could just kind of like feel it in the air, and it seemed to just go really well. So I don't know. It's stars aligned that year.
Is that the only case where an actual, you can say Rich is an affiliate owner, but affiliate ownership for Rich looks very different. So where an affiliate owner that's in the trenches goes to the games and wins?
I can't think of another one. I mean, even Annie, I don't think she does much at her gym.
Right, especially the year they won.
Right.
But the year that I won, I wasn't coaching.
He wasn't. That's what he's saying.
But you had built up everything, and then you kind of, you were training here, right? It wasn't like sure, for that year you might have delegated a lot of the responsibility, but this was still because even walking in today, and like I told you, we've coached plenty of seminars where people are like, oh yeah, I dropped in at Krypton and Ben Smith emailed me. I'm like, no, that was somebody just using Ben's email, sorry. And like, no, like it's Ben responding, like you're still very much doing this thing, and it's really cool to see. But I think that might have been the only time where a true OG CrossFitter, box owner, not someone that just came into CrossFit just to train for the games. Like someone that...
Now you get a lot of that.
Yeah, but that started in the old school way like you did. And I think that's why you had so much support leading up to it, because the people back in 2015, it was like still the old school, still the people that wanted to support their band at the dive bar. Like, we don't want to go to this 20,000 seat venue.
Ben was like the people's champ,
yeah,
right?
The people's champ, I'm saying.
He'd been in the game for
like
a long
that came up with us.
Yeah.
Like, we started in 06, 07 as well, and it's like, oh, that guy's one of us. Where now a lot of people, like, I come in and those girls that were in that class, like, they're going to be super fit and stronger than me one day.
You mean as in tomorrow?
Today.
Yeah.
Today they were. But it's like, they came into CrossFit at a very different time.
Yeah, but I think that's cool too, though. It
is, but I still like that old school. And I think that's what we represent a lot of the time. And I think people are clamoring for it these days.
Yeah, you
in
need
2022.
People are calling back to it. Just like the business cycle of any big company. It's like there's a point in time where if you got rid of all of the old guys, your company will fall apart.
It's the culture. It's like
it's something like maintaining what was good from the past and continuing that forward. Like, you have to have that. And CrossFit still has that with people like you guys are still here.
And you, yeah.
But it's like they can't lose that, because I think if they did, it would just it would potentially open the doors to whatever whatever could come in and P90X or something like that.
When you walk around the games, like this past year, we see you there. Is it still like people like there's Ben Smith, the champ? Like, people are still very much, the new people still see you and recognize you.
I mean, yeah, I still took pictures with people and stuff, and it's awesome meeting everybody. And yeah, a lot more people saw me and recognized me than I thought would. So yeah, still a good time at the games.
Do you like coaching? Because Laura, obviously, because how frequently does she train here?
She's here for like the 2 months before the games, and she'll come back in October to train for Rogue, and she's kind of just in and out.
How did you hook up with her?
It was we did team series together one year, like 2020.
This is Laura Horvath, by the way.
Is that when they were doing like U.S., Canada? Is that what
it was just a team series, like it's just a partner thing, and we ended up partnering together, and I think that was when I first met her, and like we just got along well, trained well together. We're on the same page with things, and it just worked out well. And then one year she had, it was like the year that she tried to qualify for the games at like they did it online. I think it was the year of COVID or something.
Okay.
And I think I just reached out to her after that competition because she posted something online like about how she was frustrated with this, that, or the other, and I just reached out to her because you can watch athletes and you can see the potential they have, and it's like you can see the potential in her, and it's like, hey, if you want to ever want any help with training or programming, like I have this programming, you can follow what we do, we can share, we can kind of like work together a little bit, and it just kind of grew from there. So
is she pretty coachable?
Oh yeah, I mean, she's great. It's really, we get along well, and
she's a machine.
She gets along well here. She's crazy fit. People don't even know.
Well, she's third place at the games. You got to be relatively fit. And
she's over the past
second, third.
I was gonna say the past 3 or 4 years she's been crazy consistent.
Yeah,
wow,
and under the radar.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it feels very similar. Like I can resonate with that. Like I understand where she is. She's
cool.
fitter than I am, but yeah, I get it.
Is she maybe flying under the radar because Tia's there, right? And people are just enamored with Tia. So whoever else finishes on the podium is almost like an afterthought, even though it's such a tremendous accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
People are so focused on she's the most dominant champ, etc. Like here's this woman that's been on the podium 3 consecutive years and crushing it and really making improvements.
Oh yeah,
year over year.
Yeah.
So knowing like something like the handstand push-ups this year, is that something you guys immediately go to the drawing board and because really that could have been. I don't know the exact standings this year, but something like an improvement on that position there.
Oh yeah,
could have elevated her.
There's improvements, and it's hard. Like, it's very easy for spectators to look at it and be like, "Oh, why is this not getting better?" or whatever. It's like it's getting a lot better, but it's like everybody's getting better.
The old
at
Monday
the same
morning
rate.
quarterback. Yeah.
And the standard's getting harder.
I'll use
by
it
the way,
like for me, for example, like the gymnastics side of CrossFit has always been something that I've always worked on, and it's like as I've gotten better. Like Alec and Dane come in and they walk into the sport and they're better than me.
Yeah. And
then as we get better together, they stay better than me. So at one point Alec was like, he uses it all. He does gymnastics constantly, but doesn't get better as a joke, And it's like, well, yeah, I've gotten way better, but it's just you've gotten way, way better. You know, there's just another level to each one of those things. So it's like you're always working on improving your weaknesses, but you have to remember at the same time everybody.
The field improving. As a whole is moving.
It's so hard to make leaps to go from a point of I'm really bad at this one thing to I'm the best at this one thing. I actually don't think that that's possible. You know what I mean? For most people, I don't think that it's possible. So it's like there's improvements that you can make, but it's not like you're going to go from the worst at something to all of a sudden everybody's talking about you because you're the best at it. Like
that was probably your strength when you whatever that thing was. You probably were naturally good at. You were either naturally really strong, naturally really fast, or great at gymnastics, and you just got incrementally better at it, and then you were bad at something and just didn't suck at it after a while.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is Rich in the rope climbs. But that was also
that's
back.
a technical thing.
That's a skill.
That's true. And it was also back, what's that, almost 12 years ago at this point, where it's like you could make up that difference. But you're right. It wasn't that he lacked fitness.
Yeah.
You just needed to learn the technique.
Yeah, that's the same thing as like the pegboard the first year they rolled it out. You come back and then however many years later, everybody's doing multiple reps, no legs.
Yeah.
Those are skills. That's not like you don't possess capacity.
Right, but if it's like you're at the games and you pull a 300-pound deadlift, but everybody else is pulling a 500-pound deadlift, it's like you're probably not going to get to a 500-pound deadlift.
Right, that's going to be a problem.
Maybe work your way up to 400 if you forgo everything else. So it's just a really fine balance at that point.
So as a games champion, why do you think we're seeing so many people? What it seems like is someone wins and they stay on the top. Yeah, you got Tia, you got Rich, you got Matt, and now you have Justin repeating. Is it because of the same thing you're saying? Like once you're at that level, even if everyone else is rising, so are you?
I mean, I would think so. I don't know. We haven't seen. Justin did it twice. That's ridiculously impressive. Like I know how hard. I know how hard that is because I came after I won, I came back and I finished second the next year. And it was like when I finished second, there was nothing I could have done to finish first. It was like you're playing a really good game, but the other guy's just playing better.
So you were happy with your performance that year?
I performed better in 16 than I did in 15.
Based
I just
on
didn't
what?
win.
Just
everything. I just more consistent. Everything was right there from the start. Like I didn't have a bad first event or two or something like that. Just more consistent. And my effort level on every event was better, I thought. Well, better executed.
Going back to something you mentioned earlier with regard to injuries, like because you said you were injured every year prior to that.
Yeah, I was not a smart athlete when I first.
That was what I was going to ask. Just like, what do you think led to that? And then like a different question is, I don't think enough people talk about that in general, like just in sports general. Like everything's like, nope, I'm fine. I'll fit. And which I get.
That's
right?
what I
like,
said always.
Right. I think that's what everybody says because you want to compete, and I think that's. Any competitor is probably going to be like that. Is going to be a little bit not smart when it comes to training because they like want to stay on the field, they want to stay on the court, they want to go back to the next.
Yeah, I mean, people always try to tell you like, oh, you got to know the difference between injury and just pain.
Right.
And it's like,
yeah, are you hurt or are you injured?
Especially when you're 22 years old, you're just like,
like,
I'll shake this off.
I didn't know the difference. I Yeah, I had tear in my back, like a actual tear, and I did the whole regionals. One of the regionals that had like all these deadlifts and cleans and snatches and stuff.
How long does that set you back after regionals?
That hurt for. I still I tweaked my back the other day. It's the same thing that I keep doing.
Oh, really?
So it's like it's just
this is 10 years later.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that you just deal with, on and off.
So at 32 now, are there things you're doing, knowing what you've done in the past to prehab?
I'm definitely smarter. Like I'll stop when you feel something coming on. You kind of know that it's coming on. Like there's an imbalance somewhere, and you can work on it. But like you're just smarter as an athlete. I mean, when I was younger, I did whatever, and just went all out hard as he could.
Do you see that kind of experience transferring? Because you have there's some. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Mayhem. You walk in here and I'm like, oh, there's just a lot of fit people rolling around. These are all games athletes
going to the noon class.
Do you see that kind of training acumen transferring to the younger athletes now, where they're obviously still training hard, but they're training a little bit smarter now?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that other people train harder than we trained. You know what I mean? Like I really do think we probably overdid it for a while, but it's like we're pushing the envelope. We're the first ones off, or the first ones, into that arena. So I didn't want to do it any other way. I was like, I want to see where my limits are, and I was always riding that line. That's why I was always hurt. So,
I almost think it's like you can't get there without like riding the lightning there.
Yeah, but
bit,
now I can sit and I can tell people that, hey, this is probably a better way to be if you want to listen to me. You don't have to listen to me. You can do whatever you want. But like, from my experience, here's a better way that we could probably go about it. And like, yeah, if I went back and could tell myself, things from the past, I'd be better.
So what are some of the things when you coach Laura that she says to you that you're like, as a coach, able to decipher, oh, I need to reel it in, or she's just tired, or being, not that she's being a baby, but we've all been there where it's like, really another handstand push-up workout? Like, how do you find that balance of she's overtraining or hurt versus just like not wanting to go at it today?
So this year I was super happy with how her mental game was, like at the competition. She did great with that in that regard. But like training wise, leading up to it, we were really pushing the envelope like the last month. And I wanted I wanted to like back off a little bit, and we ended up like pushing the gas pedal a little bit more. And like,
what does that look like? You just like hitting more workouts, spending more time training?
Yeah, we started some rowing program like 2-3 weeks out, where we were really like going at it like hard.
Did that help in the last event at the games?
Yeah, I think it just kind of like it was like a little bit too much, too close to the games. But like that was something where I was trying to like manage, like, hey, we should probably back off, rest a little bit more leading up to the games. But hindsight's 20/20.
When you're pushing that hard, how much time do you need to like kind of like, is it a day off and you're recovered?
Everybody's different too. Like now I would need a week, but it's
but I mean when you're in like games mode.
When I was in games mode, I like in 2015 I trained on the off day between Wednesday and Friday.
When you're in Carson, and you had a day off, I
went in and I worked out, like I moved around for 20 minutes or whatever.
Like I not with intensity.
I mean, it wasn't easy. Like it wasn't like I was just like easy. Like I was just staying moving, but it was like it would be a workout for a lot of people.
32,
Really?
He did 32 rounds of Cindy. I was just moving. It's fine.
It was like, but I mean,
why do you feel the need to do? Do you feel better when you do that than when you don't?
I felt better when I just stayed moving than when I stopped, because I would be more sore the next day. For me personally, that was just. I get very sore during the games and like these regionals and stuff. Like I'm trash. Like
it's just easier to not stay.
It was easier just to stay moving, because when I sit and when I stop, I get so sore. That's just me. I don't know. Maybe that's why I got hurt all the time before too.
No, I've heard that sentiment from athletes.
People have proclivity to getting injured.
I feel like that's what you watch people in the games, and like the amount of warming up decreases as you. It's just like there's just no warm up by the end of. You're just like I'm just ready. We've been hammering ourselves for 4 days. Like I'm just ready.
We've spoken to a couple of the games athletes after this year, and they said. What's up, Best Hour listeners? I'm here with founder of O2, Dave Kalina, and if you haven't heard about O2, it's a cleaner, healthier sports drink, and the best part about it, only 1 gram of sugar. But what I really want to talk about is the special we have for you listeners.
So the special is pretty awesome. I know I'm biased, but I have to say we kind of went all out for you guys here. If you buy 4 cases of O2, you will get 4 cases for free, as well as a free branded O2 mini fridge, as well as one of these awesome O2 Yeti water bottles and we'll even have the Best Hour logo on there. So it's pretty good.
This is something I drink every day. You guys know if you listen to the Best Hour podcast or you watch Dropping In, it's really important to myself and to Fern that we only support companies that we actually endorse and use ourselves. I love O2. I drink 2 a day. You can buy it caffeine free. I do that after 3 p.m. But if you want the one with caffeine, it's a great pre-workout. It doesn't make you jittery. It just makes you PR. So, Dave's the man. He set up a great deal just for us, Best Hour. Check it out. 4 cases, 4 for free, a fridge, a Yeti, and you get our love.
You'll get all 4 flavors, by the way, in those 4 free cases. So you'll have 8 cases total, 2 of each flavor. And I think the best part about O2 is it just tastes awesome. So give it a shot, enjoy it, and we've got a 100% money back guarantee also. So if you don't like it, we'll take care of you, but that like never happens. So
You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it.
Having to have that working on Thursday, the shuttle to overhead that was supposed to be Wednesday, it was fine.
Yeah.
Like it was actually kept similar to what you're saying. Like it actually was good. It kept me moving, and I'd rather have done 1 workout Thursday than an additional 1 Wednesday.
And I don't know if that was smart or not for me to do that, but I think I would agree with that sentiment.
It worked out that year, right?
Yeah, it worked out that year, but it made the week feel really long this year, having that extra day or that extra event that one day.
I could see that.
Mentally, like it
Well, also
changed
just
the
having
game
to show
mentally.
up to the venue, right?
You had to do everything again. So, like you have to, because your whole day revolves around like that one event. And normally when you have 4 events in a day, the last 3 don't matter as much as the first one. Like meaning nerves wise, like you got to prepare and everything. But then, like you said, the warm ups decrease.
You're just
and
like,
you're just
we're
like,
going.
all right, let's go. Let's roll the dice, see how it goes by the last one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think one thing that goes overlooked for the athletes is like, because we have long days as judges, like 6:30 calls. The athletes are there just about the same exact amount of time as we have to be. Plus, they're often there, warming up in that little athlete area at like 6. What time are you showing up every day?
yeah, I mean, they had athletes at briefings at what, 7:15 or something like that.
I mean,
and then
early.
we went as late as like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
That was long days.
They
Well,
could
some of
definitely
them-
condense it down.
Some of them even go longer because if they do, like sometimes we're leaving, going back to the hotel, they're still doing
They gotta
the.
recover.
No, they're still doing the
Press conference.
The press
Yeah.
conferences afterwards, and we're like walking behind the stage, and I'm like, oh my god,
Right,
it's
they
like
still
10
have
o'clock.
to recover and eat.
Oh yeah,
Is it as an athlete? For me, we talk about like with my daughter. I'm like, I'm so protective of my sleep. Right. So, what's it like for an athlete? Like you're getting done at 10, knowing you're going to go to bed, not get a full night of recovery.
It can play into it plays into the mental game of the week. You know what I mean? Like that all plays.
So,
into
do you
it.
ever purposely like, hey, Laura, we're going to train 3 days this week, and you're only going to sleep for 5 hours, or is that just
I
like a
think that
game
would be
day
dumb.
thing?
Yeah, I think you have to just be like.
as you were saying,
I was
also thought
as I
that
was
would be
saying, I
dumb.
heard it, but I just didn't know like if it's worth. Like maybe not ratcheting up the intensity, though, just to understand what it feels like.
You can't do it. Like it's so hard to do because it's like you can't even train as hard as you compete at the games. Like, you
Just
can't-
naturally.
You just can't do it. Yeah, it's not sustainable at all. So it's like you just prepare yourself the best you can, and then you go into the games. You're like, this is the games I'm on. Like
I felt
I'm
like
on
what I
this
did in the
week.
noon class was like, that's about it.
I think the nature of the event, the energy, adrenaline, just stepping onto any field, court, competition floor is just different. Like it just ratchets up everything. We were talking where we started this, just the partner workouts. Multiply that times 10 when you walk out there. But like the Coliseum or the tennis court, I mean, you could feel like
15,000
You could
people
feel like your
cheering for you.
legs are going to break off, and you walk out there and there's 5,000 people just losing their mind. You're like, well, let's do it.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
let's go.
As judges, you feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine what you feel like as the athlete out there. You've been around for, like you said, 11 years there. So you witnessed Dave programming for 10 years. And then this year, the transition over to Boz.
Yeah.
What were some of the things you noticed different? Like, could you pinpoint, like, this is a Boz thing versus this is not a Dave thing?
It seems like Boz might have had all of these ideas like
For 10
for
years.
10 years.
They've
I'm
been
gonna
saving-
We're doing them all this
and
year.
he was like, nah. And then this year he's like, all right, we're doing it all because they did a lot of new stuff. And
What were some of the things that you like thought, wow, that's really cool. I like what Boz put there.
I like the handstand push-up facing the wall.
So what'd you like about it?
It changes it. It changes it up. It throws you a little curveball.
I saw you practicing on your social media.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I was trying to.
I think that's how you hurt your back.
Yeah, right.
Because I saw that big overextension there.
Yeah,
I was like,
seriously.
I watched it.
But I was like, that was the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. But I like your standard, too. You mentioned, like, all that would have taken is a little foam pad to hit your head.
Yeah, and there's things like programming. You have to think about the judges when you're programming. You can't just.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing.
As judges, I appreciate it.
You have to. I mean, you can't leave it up to the judges. 'Cause everybody's going to be a little bit different. And I mean, when you make it so close, it's like, all right, well, that was very fixable with just touch your head to something.
But you
I
like
really
the
like
standard.
the handstand push-up. Yeah.
What else?
I like the format of the run to the shoulder overhead. I thought that was really cool.
The fact that you had to do, like, you couldn't.
That was just so new. Like, who's done multiple 300-pound jerks after running? Like, who's practiced
Well, also,
that?
you couldn't, like, sandbag the run. Like, you
couldn't
had to
sandbag the
go
run,
hard.
Yes.
It was. We
had to test that
You'll
workout.
appreciate this. So, Boz, what day was that? Monday? Tuesday.
Tuesday.
He's
Because that was short till Saturday.
Oh yeah. He was like, "Hey guys, we're gonna do a walkthrough of the event." And he's like, "All right, this team, you guys run out onto the field, and we're gonna do it." So
This was like everyone, athlete corral, judges, like full run through of the event.
It's like one of the first events that they're like, we need to logistically figure this out before we go live and we do it. So like, they're like, you guys are gonna judge, you guys are gonna be the athletes, and we're thinking, we're just gonna do a walkthrough. We're gonna walk down there. And they're like,
time's gonna start. We're gonna pretend like we ran.
And then we all get lined up, and he's like, "You guys ready?" We're like, "What do you mean you're ready?" He's like, "We're doing it." "What do you mean we're doing it?" He's like, "You're gonna do the workout." And I was like, "I'm still not understanding what you're saying."
And it's like only for some reason it happened to be only dudes out there. We got Dustin Virgil, who's an OG regional guy. You got this guy, a couple other really fit. So we all kind of eyeball each other. We're like, we're doing this. Like, we're going to send it.
And then we have to have like some weird silent agreement about like, are we going to do this or we're going to not? Yeah. And then all of a sudden peer pressure takes over and a bunch of so then all of a sudden everybody just fires themselves out of the cannon. We do the first 400. We get back to the bar.
PR'd my 400, by the way. Cold.
We get and like in the midst of that shuttle, I was like, this is terrible. Like, this is going to be devastating. So we go back, and there's the women's weight on the bar. So there's like 205 on the bar. And I walk up to the bar, and I'm like, I'm not really sure I can put that overhead right now. I'm like, I'm not sure. So everybody's just kind of standing around for a little bit because nobody's sure if they're actually going to do that part. And then you hear, like, one barbell hit the jerk block, and I was just like, oh, God. And all of a sudden, everybody just starts going. Just like peer pressure takes over the whole group. We run we run at 400.
Well, first of all, that first 1 minute rest was like, you may as well just not rest.
Oh, yeah.
That was worse.
Right.
So we run it, and it was devastating, and we never ran anything more than the 400. So we ran 3 rounds of 400. We took a break, and they're like, hey, we're going to run it again.
Like as if the men are now coming out.
Yeah. And they're like, you guys are going to do the whole thing again. So we ran it twice back to back, and we never went past 400.
Yeah.
And we came off of that, and I was like, that might have been one of the worst workouts I've ever done.
Yeah.
Like just the lactic threshold.
It looked awful.
It was rough.
Yeah.
I mean, I jerked. I was afraid.
You were
I was
hitting
like,
good jerks.
But I was like at 200 cold. Like I was not ready for anything, and I was
no.
just like, I might break my back here. It's like I don't know, dude. But it was that was impressive to watch. Like as I was doing that, I was like, I don't understand how human beings could do this. Like there's females are going to come out here and hit 17 to 20 reps of this, and guys are going to be putting 300 overhead. I just don't understand.
After running at that pace.
Yeah, at that pace. Like that was not slow because you got penalized for that.
Did you practice it? Did you do it?
No.
Because I saw you were doing some of the games where you didn't do that one.
No.
You going to?
I mean, I'd like to, maybe. Yeah. One of these days I'll throw it in
I
there.
don't recommend it.
No. Yeah. It was such a simple test, and it was so different, too.
Isn't that the best, the simple are typically like the best? And Boz said before the games, this workout will show who's on the podium. And I think he was pretty close.
Probably.
So you like those two things. What's something you think, okay, Boz, chill out. We get it. You're throwing some gymnastics out there.
I wouldn't have said it's too much. I don't think it was too much.
The entirety of the games.
I don't think it was too much.
You like the single unders?
Oh, I loved it.
What'd you think about the crossovers?
Fine. Why not?
Would you have announced it?
You know what I mean?
love
But this is the classic CrossFit mindset versus all of the athletes
Correct.
today.
That's what I love.
That's from the OG background, right?
Yeah, but you have to hold that. That is one thing that you have to keep going into the future. And that's what I'm glad Boz did.
The idea of the unknown and unknowable?
Sure, or just something that you have to athletically adapt to on the fly. Like
the sandbags?
You get 30 minutes before the event to practice these double unders if you haven't ever done them before, which you should have probably tried them before.
What's your statement on that? Because I think a lot of people, and I agree with you, it's like these new school people, fitness in 100 words, like the games was that, right? It was like learn basic pirouettes is in fitness in 100 words. And then Boz takes crossovers, which is old school, like Buddy Lee considers it like a basic jumping rope skill, and people are losing their mind.
Like if you watched someone go through that, my brother tested that event for Boz. He did it in a minute.
Oh, really?
He did that last part in a minute.
With the crossovers.
With the crossovers.
So he must have went unbroken on those.
Yeah, but if you watch somebody go through that knows what they're doing, that can do it, that's athletic, it's like it looks cool.
Yeah.
But it just looked bad because nobody could do it. But that's not the problem with the programmer. That's the problem with the athletes, and they'll fix that next year. And I'm sure it'll come back again.
Oh, it will.
In some variation.
And everybody will be able to do it.
And they'll be able to do it.
100 reps.
Yeah.
And then it won't look bad. But they've done that years past, like all the time. Dave used to do that all the time. He'd throw something in, he'd tease it, and then 2 years later, he'd pop it back up again.
Well, and that's how you push the sport forward too, right?
Yes, he was always pushing it forward in a certain direction.
And sometimes I think he realized too far, like the inverted ring handstand push-ups that year, and we didn't see those again. But we've seen ring handstand push-ups.
I hope we never see them again.
What did you think?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
What didn't you like about it?
He could have just said do a muscle up and get into a handstand and then come back down. It's like really simple. Move A to B. You don't have to go through the handstand push-up because people were just like pulling the rings to their chests, and then it was silly. It was silly.
Are there workouts like
Too
that?
much judging discrepancy. Like
That was
too much.
It was a nightmare as a judge.
I'm sure I couldn't imagine.
Do you think about that as an athlete and now coach? Where, okay, what are the judges actually looking at? What are they looking for? Do you guys kind of discuss that behind the scenes?
Mm-mm.
You just go out there and do your best.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, you're like, is it because you were getting no rep?
You kind of know it's coming too. Like, I mean, it's just you. Like, if you have something that's judged very, very peculiarly or whatever, you know, one judge is gonna be different than another all the time. So,
do you have your favorite judges?
I mean, I don't.
No, you didn't walk out there and be like, I'm going to get away with a couple of reps here. Like, I'm not going below parallel today.
No.
People talk about that there's athletes that kind of ride the line.
Sure.
Do you think that's happening on purpose, or do you think part of it is just fatigue, or they think they're like that's how they practice, so that's what they're used to? Are they actually trying to get away with it?
I'll probably try to be the most generous, and that last thing that you said was they probably just practice that way.
And they just don't realize, no one's telling them, hey, you're kind of close, you need to bury that.
Sure, and then they just kind of get away with it because they get away with it.
Yeah, you play how you practice.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I wanted to bring something up. So on just about every episode, Fern likes to call back to his professional athlete days, if you will.
That's not a thing, by the way.
So he likes
I was
to,
never professional.
He brags. Just about once a show, he brags about his prior performances. So I brought my phone. And I'm gonna just play a video for you.
I do want to say that he's overstating all of this.
So I don't know, the workout's up there, but if
I could tell when he was joking about it when he first walked in.
Let's see if I can get this to play.
You know how to work your phone? It's your first time.
Hold on a second. There's no internet here at Krypton.
Open gym. Real quick, I want to make note, Nate. I've beaten one person in this picture in a regionals workout. You guys can guess who that is.
So I mean,
with our gym,
nobody cared. They just kept walking. They're like, shut up.
This is at CrossFit Mayhem, but Fern does like to brag. And I watched last night. I believe you came in.
It's my only claim to fame in the CrossFit world. I can't claim anything else cool.
You had a couple fitness-wise, let's say.
That's what I'm talking about.
But I believe you came in 8th place in that work. I don't know if you remember that. You've probably done so many judged workouts, you don't remember that.
I remember that one. It was awful. I didn't like it. I was not looking forward to that going into it.
Do you remember Fern beating you at that workout? So we know you're kind of dealing with the back. What I wanted to do is have a little rematch. But
100-pound dumbbell snatch.
We'll do that in the future. I think you would be disappointed that this is what 10 years later, you are still thriving. And then, because I said to Fern,
you're like, how could somebody backslide so much?
I said to Fern, how's it going to be that you beat him and now you have to scale the same workout?
That's funny.
I don't know if I get good 4 rounds. I'm probably good for 2 rounds of that.
That 100-pound dumbbell at the time. So by the way, it was 4 rounds for time, 10 alternating, 100-pound dumbbell snatch in 2012. By the way, what was the weight on the hat trick this year? 110? On the field?
Yeah.
And there was 6 reps, I think?
Yeah, but that was a squat snatch too.
Okay, so sure.
And for the record, it was not a problem for anybody.
It wasn't, but we're talking 40 reps versus 6, 10 years later. I'm just saying
I still
that
don't
was
think
a
it-
heavy dumbbell for
Oh no,
2012.
that broke the internet. I don't know if you remember that. Like people lost their minds.
Did
about
you
that.
did you think that at the time? You're like, this is a heavy. I know we're talking about.
Oh yeah, I remember I had to hook grip the thing. I had to like gear up and prep for every rep on those last 2 rounds, and it was like,
Well, I don't know if you remember this. Like when that came out, nobody had 100-pound dumbbells.
I
like
had to
everybody
make
was.
one.
How did we
made
just
one.
throw tens on a dumbbell
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
You had to like tape them together. I mean, there was a mad rush because like nobody could figure out. They're like, can I even do this? Because they couldn't find them.
Yeah.
Like they were sold out immediately.
And Bill was just like, we're gonna make them, right? Like Rogue's just
classic road.
yeah, pretty crazy. But you've been competing that long that you've just seen that evolution of the sport. Is it interesting for you? I mean, being around so long to see people come and go over the years.
I mean, it's definitely interesting. Yeah.
And any people stand out that where you were like, oh, I pegged them to be, hanging here for the next couple of regionals, and they just kind of like
I haven't
a
put
shooting
too much
star.
thought into it. Yeah, I haven't put too much thought into it. I mean, it's always. I'm looking forward to maybe the Masters soon.
Are you
no, I'm not going to do it, but like where, all the guys that I competed with are starting to do the Masters again.
You say
let's
you
see,
say
like
that very.
Rich and Jason and Dan and Chris and all those guys, come back.
How many of
and
those
do-
guys are going to age into 35?
That's what I mean.
I think a
They're
lot
all-
of them are like Chris is definitely in the 30s.
But like I won't be.
Yeah.
I
Oh
won't-
yeah, he's.
I
almost
wouldn't ever
40.
be in the age group as the same age group as them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's right.
they were
okay,
older
they
than
were
me
older.
when I
Yeah,
was-
yeah.
It'd be close.
That
Because
is interesting. You just-
those are 5-year increments.
Yeah.
It isn't. That's an interesting fact because people lump you into that category, but you were so much younger than them.
Yeah, they used
When
to
you-
always joke me as being like the child out there.
And I mean,
They still do, and I'm 32. But
yeah, I mean, I was gonna say you're still very young. The sport we're seeing the age on the competition floor get younger and younger. Especially, I mean, the females are like 20, 21. The men, what
that's interesting to me. Yeah.
What
With
do
the
you?
girls?
I think my opinion is men beat themselves up at a younger age. So women kind of, they get a little beat up and they're out a little earlier. So women tend to last a little longer as well. But yeah, what do you think it's the reason that the younger girls are thriving right now?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think it's the coolest part about it, though. Like just that there's a
It
good
changes.
crop of very young females in that field. They're like fresh off the teenage division who are crazy impressive. Like Emma Lawson, Mal O'Brien, and there's a handful that were there last year that weren't there this year that are crazy fit. Like Bailey Rails, super young, and it's just like I don't even understand what I'm watching.
So
right now.
strong.
Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And like that Emma, she just moved so well too. I think it's a matter of time before she's just skyrocketing up there.
That's one of the biggest things in the sport that people overlook is how you move. Like it's one of the things that people didn't like. Back in the day, they were they preached for virtuosity and everything, but it was still like just get through it, like just go through it as fast as you can. And they like the people that started doing a lot of work at a lower intensity, right? Maybe managing more work to rest, partner workouts, so where you could keep your form together for longer. They learned that they would outlast someone in a short 21:59 workout because they could keep their form together.
It's something
It's
we
just
talk
like
about.
grown over time. Like as the sport's evolved, you see the training methodologies change
When you
just
realize
a
if-
little bit.
If you're going to train with that much volume, you need to move well.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Is that what a lot of people would attribute Rich, right? Like moving really well and maintaining that form for a very long period, like for any duration
I
of a
would
workout.
throw you in that same category. Like I've always thought, like I've judged you at the games and numerous times, and there's certain athletes you walk out there and like this is not going to be a problem. Like they move well. There's not going to be any discrepancies about range of motion or anything like that, and that probably has a large. It's probably a large contributing factor to your longevity in the
for
sport.
sure.
It's just like moving well,
Yeah.
and I don't think, and we talk about this at level ones when we give the technique lecture. Like it's not an accident that when you look at the podium, those are some of the better movers in the field.
The way that I see athletes when I coach is through a biomechanics lens, right? Like I look at them and I see the way that they're moving, and that's just the way that my mind thinks. I was just mechanical engineering degree, right? Maybe that's what I use it for. Being able to
That makes
view
sense.
people and their
Yeah.
different levers and the way that they move and how they could be more, how they could change so that it would be more advantageous, or they could lift more weight, or they could be more efficient. That's just the way that I see it, and I see myself the same way, and I try to like tweak things, and I'm always working on the way that I move, and it's helped me last a longer time for sure. And I've gotten healthier the smarter I've got with it.
Well, because
the last 4 or 5 years have been the best.
Well, I was thinking, like, I've seen, like, one of the noticeable changes I've seen, and I don't even know why I noticed, but, like, your squat position and stance change, I think, pretty drastically over the years. Like, right around, I want to say, like, 12, 13.
Mm-hmm. Like after he lost to you in that snatch workout, he was like, I got to change something.
I can't lose to this chump. But is that, you were always kind of, were you always kind of, like, real nerdy into movement because of that?
Yeah, I've always paid attention to detail, and I said back in the day, I was like, I'm never just going to be a squatter, because I wasn't a great squatter, and it was just something I'm like, all right, I'm going to really focus on it and work on it, and that's what I did over the years, and it's really helped translate into all the other things, because, you know, you work on the basic stuff, and all the other stuff gets better. So that's just overlooked now.
Huh.
I think the really good athletes are looking at it, like the ones that are, again, like you said, at the podium level, and like when I started working with Laura, it's like she just moves well naturally. Like you don't have to coach her or train her to do that, you know. So,
what are you excited about for the affiliate or the sport coming up in the next few years?
I'd like to see what direction the sport goes, you know, because it's always fun to watch, because the athletes change based off what the programming is at the games. It's always been that way. Dave knew it. He always tweaked things, and he could change the whole entire field of, like, essentially the CrossFit community changed based off of what Dave programmed year to year.
Yeah,
and
heavy or gymnastics.
Exactly, and he knew it. And like with Boz here now, it's like it'll be interesting. It'll take 3 years, I think, to see what direction he's going. And then it's like you could switch it up after that. But I think it'll take 2 or 3 years to figure out which, you know, what you should be training for or really focusing on or gearing towards. And I think he'll take it in the direction that it should go, because it seems like it was really oriented to, like, the strength and things like that, and then it kind of got away and it started doing just all cardio and metcons or, like, whatever, aerobic capacity, that kind of thing. Everybody went that way, but then some sort of blend of the two with the gymnastics thrown in, I think, will be really cool.
True CrossFit.
Yes, we'll get there eventually.
Constantly varied, functional movements, extra high intensity.
But gymnasts are so crazy strong that it's like CrossFit hasn't even tapped into that realm.
It's the one area where it's the one area where they're woefully deficient if we're thinking about capacity relative to the specialists in that modality. Like,
exactly.
You know, if you think about rowing, CrossFitters are pretty solid there. Even running to some extent, not world-class runners, but if you're talking about like they're not far off.
And certainly weightlifting.
Weightlifting, yeah, I mean, that's the one where they're probably the closest. But yes, gymnastics, it's like laughable.
Right?
Yeah,
like people don't understand how mobile, how strong, and how coordinated the gymnasts are.
So what would you do? What's, like, one thing you would throw in there when you say, like, I would level up gymnastics?
Well, we've been doing, so that's why it's fun, because I was like, it's reinvented my whole idea on training. Like, we've been doing so many more isometric stuff, a lot more strict gymnastics work. We're doing the 30 pull-up challenge, just trying to get the community, trying to get the community to do more strict
I see that
pull-ups.
You're mixing it up every day too, which is really, you do some on the ring, some mixed grip.
You could just do 30, or you could just mix it up with whatever variation we're going to do.
Is that just fun for the CrossFit Krypton community?
No, I've been trying to do it because I think a lot of people come to a gym and they see people doing kipping pull-ups or whatever. They want to do kipping pull-ups or bar muscle-ups, and I tell them, I'm like, you want to get a better bar, you want to do a bar muscle-up, you have to be able to do 10 good strict pull-ups at least, you know, before you can even start. And people don't want to take that step back. They feel like they're taking a step back. And I'm like, all right, let's just hammer some basics. Like, this is what we do all the time. You guys have to be good at this if you want to progress in the sport. So
what's the rules?
Fun. We
they
just
have to
do
be strict.
30 strict pull-ups every day for 30 days.
Any grip you want, because I saw you did, like, on a, maybe it's like your daughter's.
We've been mixing it up. Yeah, one of the days I said anything but a pull-up bar. Like,
okay,
you gotta do 30 reps on anything.
We'll put it. This episode will come out, you know, after that's over. But maybe we'll kick in a little. We'll grab the Ben Smith 30 pull-up challenge.
No, we're on day 19 today.
And started August 15th, I think.
Yeah, I have it on my story. So if you go on my story, you click on the main page or whatever, you can see each day.
So we can follow. So when he's done, we can follow.
I'll put a PDF up at the end of it.
Cool, that'd be great.
I'll just share it, and people.
I'm very curious to see what the outcome of that is for a lot of people that participated. I don't think it will be bad.
I think it's going to be that they get muscle ups.
My pulling has gotten better.
Really?
Yeah, I've noticed it. Like when I get on the pull-up bar, I feel solid. Like
Which is funny because like you're already like probably a really good puller.
And it's only 30 reps. And I'm like, maybe because we haven't been doing as much.
5 minutes a day.
Yeah, and I'm like, maybe because we haven't been doing as much pulling outside of it, I've gotten to recover, and because you always have to balance your frequency and the load that you're training and how hard you train. So I don't know.
But so you talk about that, but what's what's one thing you think, if you were forecasting next year, that you think could appear at the games in the vein of like higher level gymnastics?
Man, I don't know.
Iron cross?
I'm not a gymnast. No, they could do like a back lever for time.
Ooh, yeah.
Like you would do an L-sit.
Yeah.
Like so like just looking at the level there?
They'll probably bring back the L-sit.
I can see that. Well, they kind of brought it back
before they bring back
brief
something
moment
like a back lever.
Yeah.
On the parallel bars, they had to do the then what was the rule? The knees had to be in front of the body, or the feet had to be in front. It didn't have to be an L
something
sit.
like that. I think maybe in front of the shoulders or something
Yeah.
like that. Before they went into the
strict ring muscle up, maybe strict pull up weighted. They've done that before.
Ooh.
Chest to bar, weighted chest to bar.
I think we'll start to see some of that.
Things like just little things. Not a huge drastic change. It'll
just
be
slowly
like,
over time.
just sprinkled in. I hope.
That's cool.
There's a. I think you're right, and I think that stuff's cool. There is an aspect of the visual aspect of that has to be worked around.
Well, back lever would be pretty sick. If you see like 10 dudes who's holding the back lever of the lawn, like that'd be pretty sweet.
I mean, it would, but how many people wouldn't be able to do it because they never practice it?
They would
I think most. You don't think?
I think most of them could.
Yeah, I think
You think
especially
so?
the men. I don't know how the females would do.
On the rings for sure. I
But
think
I think men would definitely be able to get up there and do it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
How long?
Maybe.
How long can you hold one?
I haven't done it in a little while.
Okay.
Let's
I could
test
hold it for 5 or 10 seconds solid.
Well,
That's pretty
let's,
good.
I think rematch.
We'll retest it. We'll come back and we'll do this.
We'll do it.
But you said
I'm
you're
gonna go home and
not
practice right
going to
now.
make a run at the Masters. Is that? Did
No,
you?
no.
For like you're saying now you're not. No chance at the.
No. My no, I'm good.
It doesn't interest you at all.
Oh, it interests me for sure.
But what about it is
It's
the
not-
no? Why
I
do
want to compete every day. I want to go to the games every year.
So
It's
what-
just-
so
He's
what
wiser.
about it is
he's not only older, he's wiser.
Like
Yeah.
our friend James Hobart
uh-huh.
trains once a day, and last year I think he came in second.
My problem is I train too much, I think, and I don't let my knees recover as much as I should. And I have a lot of tendonitis lately, and it's been lingering. And I really want to compete, but it's like I can't get in that groove again. And when I start getting that groove, I do too much again.
Right, you have like that
Like
all or
I'm just,
none.
yeah, I'm at that line where I'm like crossing over to figuring out what I'm doing.
You got
next,
3
so.
years to figure it out.
Yeah.
I can
So we'll
see
see.
it.
We'll see.
and then the rest of your life to limp around.
Yeah. No, I feel when I rest, like if I've taken the last 4 or 5 days off because I haven't been feeling too good, and I feel great. Like other than the injury, but so. It's
So
just-
no longer you need to move every day to feel better.
No, I do. I still do for sure.
Are you moving even like a day like today?
I'm
where
still doing like the pull-ups and stuff, and I'll do some.
just like squeeze your butt hard to protect your back, like for
that's
like.
what I'm doing right now, standing here.
Yeah.
So my back doesn't hurt.
Oh no, I know when your back goes like I'm just standing there
I'm in like a
squeezing my
sweat
butt
all day, like a little sweat all
His
day.
glutes are getting bigger, but yeah, no, I know what that feels like. You just need to stand up tall.
Yeah.
No, I think mark my words, Fern. 3 years from now, Ben Smith.
Not that camera. Remember we were talking about
Oh
that.
yeah, other camera. Ben Smith, first place, 35 to 39, 25-ish. Is that when you'll be 35?
I don't
What
know.
year were you born? 90.
Yeah, 90.
Yeah. You'll see. You'll see. And if you do that, we're gonna come back here, and you guys are gonna go head to head on the 2012
I'll be 50 at that
regional
point.
workout. and then other than your 10-year anniversary, any cool things going on here across at Krypton?
No, I love the day-to-day at the gym. Like, we've talked all about game stuff, but it's like I love the day-to-day at the gym. That's what I'm passionate about. I love training.
What time do you show up every day?
I get here normally 9:30 or 10, sometimes 10:30 if I'm late.
How many
But-
classes do you coach now?
I only coach probably one a day.
A day?
A day?
Yeah.
But like you're on the calendar or schedule once a day?
Yeah, usually. So it just fluctuates. We have a lot of coaches now, and I love that they get the hours, and I'm there to help if I need to, and I'll pop in and out, and that's the role that I like the most.
It's fun.
Yeah. I don't need to be coaching every class.
What do you
so
look
it's-
forward to? If, like you say, like all these years later, what's your favorite part about showing up on the floor? Because I can tell while we were out there, you enjoyed it. Like you were.
I love it. It's like people need it. The world needs this. Like people don't understand how bad the world needs this.
Dude, I was at an airport yesterday. The lady sitting next to me. Yeah.
I mean, just go to a baseball game, go to the airport,
just
go,
leave
like,
the CrossFit box.
leave anywhere
yeah.
other than the CrossFit gym. And it's like you see these people walking around here are the fittest people on the planet, hands down.
This
like,
box was very fit, like exceptionally fit.
I was a little worried there when we were walking around.
I wasn't.
Up.
I was worried because I had you on my team, but I normally
Yeah.
I would have been fine.
do people say that all the time? But I'm like but it's like I just
trickle
program
down.
the workout. Yeah, I just program the workouts that I do, and they scale them. And it's like that's something that every
Program
gym
for the
should
best,
do.
scale for
that's
the
what
rest.
Glassman wanted the CrossFit.com to be. It's like it should exceed the abilities of even the fittest people on the planet.
God, I love
You
the
know,
fact
so-
that you're
That's just an OG.
OG. That's like I think
it's awesome.
I agree with you that we need to be. And Nicole Carroll's on this too, where we need to be like resolute about not losing that. Like we
Yeah.
need to like actively make sure that trend, like she talks about that transmission of the
DNA.
the DNA, the transmission of culture, but not just from the coaching standpoint, but from the athlete standpoint too. Like there's a lot of
That's harder.
it is
That's
harder.
way harder.
But I think it's super important that we keep that, because that's what pushed the sport to where it is today. And I think if you just try to take it off into a different route and reinvent the wheel, you would lose a lot of what makes CrossFit, the games, the progression of the athletes, all of that. I think you would lose a lot of that. But what's cool is that, like, you get it. You're doing it here in the box. You're living it every day. You have the Ben Smith Blueprint programming. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that people like you are still around doing it and doing it at a very high level.
Yeah, like that's one of the reasons why we started that podcast. Like we do the Coach's Office podcast. We want to talk about stuff like this. Like I've always said from the very beginning, I don't like competing at the CrossFit Games. I have to compete at the CrossFit Games to like as the test. It's like you don't want to go take your test in school, but I liked the part of like the studying, the getting smarter, the learning about yourself, the translating it into your community. Like that's what I love. And then the games was just every year I'd go and I would test myself. Like that wasn't it for me. And now the athletes is like, that's it for them. They finished 20th at the games. Their identity is 20th place fittest person on the earth for the rest of the year until they finish 15th the next year.
You have an engineer brain. You have a very engineer brain.
But I don't think that the way of I think that way of thinking is the best way of thinking, because I think the other one leads you to this like you're chasing something that you're never going to grab.
And it's your identity.
Like and it's your identity. Like that can't be your identity.
That was never your identity, because you always had the box as kind of like your home base.
Yeah, it was just, this was what we did. Like when me and Adam were coaching the classes, it was like he would coach, we'd work out. I would coach, we would work out, and we just like did that all day. It was like just fun, but you were bringing up, you weren't only bettering yourself, but you were bettering your entire community from that one thing that you were doing that other people could look at and say, oh, it's silly, selfish, you're just training, you're just exercising, but it's like you're really helping people. Like
it very well could be selfish, but that's probably not. But that's not probably the way that you guys were executing. And what I hear you is there's a difference between wrapping up my identity and the outcome, or really diving in. And this is the same for business. It is for training, as it is for anything else. There's like really, and because it sounds to me like your true passion is the process. Yeah. You like the process. You like the practice. That's the fun part. Game day is a requirement just by the nature of being in a sport, right? But practice is where it's at. And that like when people ask me about like, what do you miss about like college athletics? I'm like, I can remember like 5 games in my whole career. I can remember a lot of practices, a lot of bus rides, a lot of
those
meetings.
Moments where you like learn something new about yourself, or where you're like, oh, your eyes are open to something completely new that you'd never seen before.
The team meetings, video, all that stuff. Like that's the stuff that I have thousands of those memories. And that's the stuff that I always found really cool. And it sounds like that is very much a part of the way you approach things, which is probably very much indicative of your success, both as a games athlete and as a box owner.
That's what we do at the gym. That's what people like. They live their life, and then they come in here every day. They can come in here every day and look at this as a test, and their outcome and their identity is based off of how they do. And then you have people with a bunch of egos, and then you got problems in your gym. Or you can come in here and you're like, hey, I'm trying to be my best. I know that person's trying to be their best. Let's help each other, try to be a little bit better, and let's go up against this test. And I put out the test every day, and it's always really hard because it's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, so they're up against this test rather than up against each other. And we do a lot of partner workouts, and it's just like it cultivates a community that, everybody grows together.
Yeah, I love it. And by the way, I told you who to talk about is Division I basketball. I tell you every episode. What credential do you have with CrossFit?
What's that?
What credential do you have? Level 1, level 2?
Level 1. Yeah, I've just go to my level 1
all that you just talked
go.
About. What do we have to do to get Ben Smith to take his level 2?
I don't know. I've just never done it.
I'm sure we can get you a level 2. They're 20 minutes away.
Yeah, last time I took it, I took a level 1 like.
This is a funny story.
4 years
took the level 1 at CrossFit Takeover.
That's K-Bo's box?
Yep. Yeah. So it was a big seminar. It was like 45, 50 people. And, at the beginning of every seminar, they're like, who's been doing this for a while, and he's fresh off of winning the games.
So this is back in 15, 16.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, this is a couple months off of that.
So you must have just redone it then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so then we finally was like, anybody here like never done a CrossFit workout before? Right. And there's this dude in the back who like raises his hand. I think his name was Paul. And then, so we did a partner workout for that workout. And it was me and Willie and a couple other people like, it'd be like, let's just pair Ben and this dude up together. And so and this dude has no idea who he is. Yeah. And he's just like, so did he like win something? It's just like, he's like, oh, okay, cool. Or like, he's like the fittest dude on planet Earth right now. But it was such a great experience because like you did a great job. It was just, you know, Ben looked over at me. He was like, "Is this really the first time he's ever done a CrossFit workout?" I was like, the end of day one, this dude's like dying, and he was like, and you were like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, that was an awful workout to do as your first CrossFit workout. Let's be honest.
The standard thrusters, burpees going on?
But it was a partner variation.
I think. Yeah.
It was,
which is worse, like we talked about, a team workout.
It was great. But therein lies like the heart of the CrossFit community is that like that's a beautiful expression of both ends of the spectrum, like put in the same spot.
Right. Meanwhile, Ben's getting plenty of rest because this guy's going slow, right? No, I'm saying in a positive way. Like that's the beauty of a team workout. If this guy's resting, I have to go harder because I've got longer rest, and this guy's like, man, I'm going again. So that's the beauty of it. But going back to the question, level 2.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you to take it.
I mean,
it's a
sure,
Ben. We've just sat here and talked about a test.
Yeah.
This is the test.
I told you I don't like the test. I like the process.
Well, the process of becoming a better coach. Well, the level 2 is
Maybe
the
that's why I've
culmination.
never taken it. Yeah.
So all these years, you just never decided to go to take the level 2.
I've been so focused on the games and competing. I just been focused on that. And the
I'll
gym.
tell you what, if
It's
I have a spot
for
for level 2, I'll give it to you.
okay.
There you go. Do you have one scheduled?
I for sure.
And I only say that sincerely because you would be a fantastic addition to seminar staff. Like you're an OG, great coach, living and exuding, you know, and exemplifying what that CrossFit mentality is. So hearing that, I'm like, oh, why hasn't Ben ever? I mean, obviously you're very busy and you've been training, but like, man, this guy would be great to be like a red shirt on seminar staff.
I mean, just like it's just there's certain people that I think about, particularly in the sport, who I think are really, really good examples of like what we think of when we think of like true blue CrossFitters, and you're one of those people. I think Rich is also one of those people, and I think those are the people that we want to kind of push to the forefront, who like really understand it. You've been around long enough to kind of come full circle to really understand the methodology, the training, what all of this is about. Like forget the games, but to understand what happens in the box every day. Like that's the most important thing. And I think that's a lot of what separates guys like you and Rich, because yeah, there is the games aspect of that, but like when all of that's gone, like you're back here working with like real regular people, like doing the thing.
Yeah,
and
cueing people where their elbows are on a power clean.
Right. And I think that's what all of this is about. Like that's what keeps CrossFit going for another 20 years, not the games. The games is an expression of CrossFit. The games is cool. It's the microphone. It's how you can get it to the masses. But this is how you deliver to everybody in the four walls of the box.
I don't know. Like you have people leave here and like you look at these people, how fit they are, and they go walk out in the world.
Like, what do you do?
I've never done any advertising for the gym.
We haven't either, really.
No, well, and you probably haven't either. But the people that walk around, they're like, "What are you doing?" You know, it's like somebody is playing softball, rec league softball, and they run around the bases faster than anybody else. They're like, "Hey, I need to know where you work out."
Yeah,
but they're wearing a CrossFit.
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
And this like there's some like mysterious thing behind it too, which makes it alluring. Like you draw to it as well. It's
I always joke that like because people get down on themselves in CrossFit because it's an easy place to let your ego get the best of you and just get down on yourself. I have to remind them, I'm like, most CrossFitters are the fittest person in any given room.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're 1% of fitness. I mean, we flew in yesterday. You're just sitting next to people that are obese and you feel for them. And the sad part is like, I know exactly what you need. Come with me. It's frustrating, but I love what you just said. Like maybe not. Like maybe we don't even need the sport. Like, but just what we do every day at the affiliate.
As I've said this before in podcasts, like the sport will happen naturally. Like, you don't need to force the sport. You would need to drive the stuff that we're doing in the gym every day, because the sport's going to happen whether it's a tiny little gym and the workout is the test is the workout of the day today, and you guys are like finish second, like fired up. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I love about.
But you guys naturally did the CrossFit Games in that class.
Oh, that was my games.
But yes, but that's what I'm saying. It's naturally going to happen.
That was my team games.
But then at some point, if we didn't have the games, we'd be like, you're a gym owner, I'm a gym owner. Let's come have all of our gym compete and let's rank everybody and see how we do. It's like it naturally would happen because people are competitive. It's just human nature.
You're nailing it, and that's the part I always tell people, like that bash the competitive aspect of CrossFit. Like that's what makes it. It's like a league of their own, right? The heart is what makes it so great. And like showing up in noon class in Chesapeake, Virginia, and like I'm partnered with this guy, and I'm like, what was the girl's name? Paige.
Yeah.
I was like, Paige, who's good here? Like,
Paige
and I was like, I knew we were going to beat Cody and Katie. I knew we were going to beat them.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I'm like eyeballing those two. I'm eyeballing that. Like, that's the best part. Like, And that's where intensity comes in, and you just get so much. It was
And there's a way to do
fun.
that without ego. There's a way to do it
yeah,
the
and
right
like
way.
the cool thing is like those people that beat us. It's like I'm not mad that they, like you said earlier.
But you
it's
are
like,
a little bit.
I'm very, yeah. I mean, on the show I say
I'm not even going to mince words.
No,
I was definitely hurt. Yeah.
But it's like you said, like I don't want to win because you did bad.
Yeah.
Like you said about 2016, you were still proud of your performance. Like we came in, like much like you, we came in second, right? We were on the podium in second,
right.
and we were still proud of our performance. Those guys were just fitter than us today.
And that's what I think the games athletes need. The games athletes need that perspective.
They need a pep talk
They
from
need
me
some
like
sort
that.
of yeah, exactly. They need that perspective to keep them.
It's
grounded.
hard. It's a hard balance, right? Because it is
Absolutely.
a professional sport.
Sure.
But hearing what you're saying, like I hope the listeners hear that. Like this is where the magic happens. That other stuff is cool. It's 0.01% of the CrossFit population. This is where we have the ability to truly, like Coach wanted, to change the world, right? You walk out into whatever the supermarket is here, and you're like wearing your CrossFit Krypton shirt, and you see someone, you're like, hey, come on in tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have hopped in there. I would have partnered with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right, or they can do your fit class. There's
Yeah,
so much opportunity.
I want to figure out how to reach the people that need it, that want to be here, because there's a lot of people that need it that don't want to be here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and that's you can't
that's
save them all. Like that's,
no,
it is what it is.
absolutely.
Like,
But there's a lot of people there that want this that don't know it yet, and it's like that's cool.
How have you gotten? Can you think of any examples here of people that you're like, either you met out in the public or that walked in on one day and you're like, this is going to change their lives?
I mean, everybody that's here, I think about it all the time. Like everybody that's here, it's like like you guys have the best hour of their day. It's like and it's not just the hour that they're here. Like they're thinking about their workout in the morning or during the day or whatever. At some point, they're looking forward to it. They go home to their family. They're a better husband or wife because of it. Like they're a better father. It's like, mom or whatever. It's like,
I'm not a better father with this, though. That's the only thing. That baby still stresses me out. I take deep breaths. I'm like, man.
Just better for it, So it's cool. But
and
I think so many people do change.
This guy gets it.
yeah, and
I'm thinking I might replace you with this guy. Is that possible?
That'd be a good upgrade.
I mean, he beat other than that one workout.
Yeah.
No, but I think like people hear best hour of their day and they like want to argue, and it's like, oh, it's not the best hour. Like, but exactly what you said. We truly hope it's not the best hour of your day. But if you come in here and have a fantastic 60 minutes, the rest of your life is better. When your baby is screaming, you're going to be better suited to take care of it. When life gets a little challenging, you're going to be more capable of handling the stress. And that's what it's all about.
People that point a finger and would say, like, that's selfish or something, it's like, you don't get it. Yeah. Or they want to do it and they can't themselves, So it's like...
That's a good place. That's a good place to end, right? No, dude,
this was so good.
This got me fired up, dude. And like I said, I truly mean that. I think you're a fantastic representative of both the broader CrossFit community of the sport, and I want you to keep doing what you're doing, dude. You're doing really good stuff here. Keep doing it. And for any of you guys that are ever in this area, come check it out. This is a fantastic box. Been in the career doing good things, man. It's just this is what the community needs, and people like you are going to be part of the catalyst to push that forward.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming out. Yeah, it's been fun. I can talk about this all day.
Oh, so could we. 2025 podium, level 2. Level 2. That's more important to me. You would love it.
I'm sure I would.
Yeah, CrossFit Rife. You're gonna come through.
Sure.
All right.
That's awesome.
We'll
That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
When he does it, we'll come back and we'll do the next episode. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.